seersucker suit. You got the horse and jockey pin on.
Well, you root for tomorrow, by the way, Cris Canny.
Oh, I got my favorites, Jenna. I got we got Magnum Moon, we got Good Magic, and we have Audible. So those are the 3 horses I'm going to put in my trifecta box.
All right, go and put your leg up here. Go and put your leg. This is one of my favorites. So I'm down with Gucci. Okay, I'm down with Gucci. I'm down with a big man who likes to be clean.
Yeah, that's not the Bow Wow challenge. They actually real Gucci.
Not Bow Wow challenge.
Yeah, that's real Gucci. Just so everybody knows.
Not from Canal Street.
There we go.
No.
Easy.
I'm not going to do it.
Well, it's good to have you back. We missed you, Cris Canny. Let's dive right in. Yesterday, Jason Witten announced his retirement from the NFL after 15 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys. The 11-time Pro Bowler will be calling Monday Night Football games next season. Friends and former teammates gathered to say goodbye to the Cowboy legend yesterday. Here is Jason Witten.
After much self-reflection, prayer, and faith, today I've decided that the time has come for me to pass the torch to the next generation of Dallas Cowboys and retire from the National Football League. I was never the most talented, never the flashiest. I relied on grit. Other players might have been more talented, but I can assure you, no one was going to outwork me.
You felt it there. It's hard walking away. I mean, it's easy when someone's like named Monday Night Football. It's like, come be with me. I will take care of you.
Right?
When you have another job. Same with breaking up with people, right? Easy to break up with someone.
With the next job,
when
other
you
people
got
aren't trying to hit you.
Also that, what you said. Is Dak Prescott, Cris Canny, is Prescott set up to succeed in his 3rd season without Witten and without Des Bryant?
Well, here's the thing. I think the Dallas Cowboys have a way to be able to manufacture yards in the passing game. It's just not going to look like a traditional offense when we talk about how they're going to have to move the ball with the quarterback, Dak Prescott. I still don't think Dak has evolved to a volume passer from the pocket, but what I will say is with the guys that they acquired this offseason, Tavon Austin to go along with Cole Beasley, I think that they can put small guys in space in the short passing game, give them opportunities to make defenders miss, continue to move the chains that way. Short passes to be an extension of your running game because you don't have a vertical threat downfield. So you look at Allen Hurns, you look at Terrence Williams, the kid that they drafted, Michael Gallup, in the 3rd round. I just don't see a guy that's going to take the top off of the defense. So in order to keep defenses honest, what they're going to have to do is play small ball and use the width of the field in their passing game and allow that to create space in the box for Ezekiel Elliott to get the run game going.
Listen, I know we're making this about Dak, and understandably so, but the Cowboys' offense is going to, especially with the departures, revolve around Zeke even more so than it has. And my big question is, because listen, what Jason Witten said is correct. He wasn't the flashiest. I thought it was funny. He said, I did it on grit. But he was a very good, even in year 15, run-blocking tight end. Like, he was very good at that. And are you going to trust a rookie tight end to be able to do that? Are you going to trust Jeff Swain to be able to do that? When we know teams, even when you had Des Bryant out there, were putting 8 men in the box, they're particularly going to do it if Allen Hurns is your most vertical threat as a wide receiver. How much is that departure going to hurt what the Cowboys do best, which is maul you up front? I know their offensive lineman will still be there, and Tyron Smith should be healthier than last year, but that, to me, is going to be harder to replace than 560 yards and 5 touchdowns in the passing game that Jason Witten is going to leave behind. Like, that, to me, is a big part of this as well.
It is not the perfect setup for a guy going into his 3rd year. Let's go with a Jared Goff, and he's going into year 3, but looks how he struggled in year number 1. And what they did from an offensive coordinator standpoint, the athletes that they put around them, they went out and got a left tackle from Cincinnati. They put more talent. This is I say 99% of the players in the NFL are system players. Man, you need a good system, but you need some talent too.
Yeah.
Like, say, what would you rather have? A good system or talent? Give me the talent. All right? Now, I need a system. Yes, I'll acquiesce to that. Yeah, we need but, man, you need talented players. And they have talented players in the box. They have a talented tailback in the backfield. They do not have as much talent outside. So who does it affect the most? It affects the quarterback. So I expect Dak, the responsibility that will be put on his shoulder will be the most that he's seen since he's been in pro football. He's got less weapons. He's got less people that can do something with a mistake. Younger players make mistakes with the football. Great players erase the mistakes that quarterbacks are able to make, and they don't have that when they don't have Witten and they don't have Dez.
CC, you're absolutely right. A lot of coaches use the adage, it ain't about the X's and O's, it's about the Jessies and Joes. And when you look at the receiving core, they just don't have enough guys that can make plays in and of themselves. So, again, I go back to the system that Scott Linehan is going to have to run with Dak Prescott. It's probably going to look a lot more like what he did at Mississippi State under Dan Mullins in terms of spreading the ball out and making sure that you have that dink and dunk passing game to complement the run game. Because, listen, everybody knows that the only way the Dallas Cowboys can beat you based on their personnel is by running the football. So you're going to get a lot of 7- and 8-man box looks from the defense. You've got to have a way to offset that, or at least keep the defense from wanting to get in those looks. And I think the short passing game with those little quick guys is what's going to make the difference. And that's the equalizer.
I mean, Chris makes good points. And right now, they cannot throw the ball over top of the defense. They can't. They got a great offensive line. Dak would have enough time, but they don't have the type of weapons. And I just believe Tavon Austin is not an addition to your wide receiver core.
He's a running back.
Yeah, he's an addition to what you're trying to do, sideline to sideline. He's an addition to your backfield, trying to get him out of the backfield, get him in a mismatch on a linebacker or on a safety. So defensive coordinators in the NFL, they're going to dare the Dallas Cowboys to throw the football.
The Cowboys were so quick to move on from Dez Bryant as if they knew Allen Hurns was their answer. If they knew, they said, we're going to be fine with Allen Hurns, because not that there's that much to do. They didn't do that much in the draft. There's not that much as far as free agency is concerned, at least the rest of the way. They seem to be okay with what Dak has.
Well, I think they moved on from Dez because of some of the issues that were coming up in the locker room. I think that was more about team chemistry than a lack of production. Now, having a $16 million cap number didn't help Dez Bryant, and that was probably the catalyst in his departure.
But they didn't even ask him for less money.
They didn't ask him to restructure, and I think that's because there were players and coaches that wanted to move on from Dez Bryant. But when you consider that, along with the Jason Witten retirement, that's 132 catches that you had last year. The ball is going to have to go somewhere. It's got to go somewhere.
It's over half of Dak's career pass attempts to those two guys. 430 times he's targeted those two guys. I want to say one thing about what the Cowboys did in the draft. The Cowboys 6 years ago, at this point 6 years ago, I think did a smart thing. Removed the draft from fully being in Jerry's hands. Let Stephen Jones have more influence. Let their actual, I don't want to say analytics, but their scouts and their smart people have more influence as far as, let's build this team up front. Let's spend high draft pick after high draft pick on the offensive line. And that has worked out really well for them. I wonder if in this draft, if they stayed true to that, a draft too long. Like, I'm not saying Leighton Vander Esch out of Boise isn't going to be a really good player as an inside linebacker, and I get it. With Sean Lee being as injured as he has been in his career, you get it. And Connor Williams, I thought he was a player who could go at the end of the first round. They got him in the middle of the second round. I understand the value there as well. But at some point, you do need some dynamic talent. At some point, you do need somebody who can go and scare a defense. And I get it that they were like, this is what we've done. This has been successful for us. But when you're sitting there at number 19 and you can take Calvin Ridley, and you can, even if you think his upside because he's 23 isn't as high, Calvin Ridley, to me, could walk in and, if he's the player I believe he'll be, by midseason, be their best receiving option.
The biggest problem with Calvin Ridley is he's not an X receiver. He's not a boundary receiver. He's a Z receiver, got to play to the field, and they got enough guys. And he's not a burner. You know, they got guys like there can run fast. Terrence Williams can run as fast as him, and he has the seasoning, and he is the typical Z receiver. So not necessarily a fit to what Dallas is trying to do.
But Dallas got jumped in the second round by the Philadelphia Eagles when they were targeting Dallas Goedert. So that was somebody that they were looking to, especially after the news came out Thursday night, Friday morning, that Jason Witten was considering retirement. So they thought they had a plan going into the draft to be able to replace that production from Witten. But now you look at the tight end position for the Dallas Cowboys, and you got a bunch of guys. So they've got to figure out through scheme how to offset those two losses, Dez Bryant and Jason Witten.
Sidebar, too, that wasn't supposed to be leaked out there. The people Jason Witten working for, might have let that information go, and it didn't help his situation.
That shouldn't be forgotten. Listen, Jason Witten went to go work for ESPN. They obviously also have a news gathering arm of that. So that gets leaked out. I fully believe Philadelphia doesn't trade up in front of Dallas to go get that player if they don't have reason to believe Dallas needs a tight end.
Yep.
right? So that wasn't the plan. It's not like it was leaked out to screw the Cowboys. But the end result was they might have missed out on a player they otherwise would have gotten if that information doesn't.
A player's whose name is?
Dallas. You love that.
Dallas. Hope he plays really well this year, just so I can keep talking about it.
He better be good with that name in Philly.
I'm telling you.
Stick around. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, Matt Ryan got paid. But how much? Oh, all of it. That's how much. That's next on First Things First.
We got to be quick with kids.